Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2025 Chess World Cup. In this tournament, we have a massive knockout, and ultimately the top three finishers will qualify to the next candidates tournament. Some of the best players in the world, including the world champion Ghosh, are playing. This is the third round recap. We've been rolling along so far. Nobody is getting eliminated today, but it is the first game of the third round. Some amazing games. I'm going to cover a bunch of players I haven't covered yet. Hopefully by the end of this tournament, you know 10 players that you haven't yet. Now, as I said 2 recaps ago, you can go back on the timeline of my uploads. I will be providing you with updates and my opinion of the ongoing dark cloud that is hanging over the world of chess, and whatever happens with the International Chess Federation, their investigation, and so on and so forth. It's not a particularly great time in the world of chess, and I don't really want to do too much promoting of anything that I have going on in my life, but I kind of have to. So I would like to share with you a little bit of exciting news. Many of you know that I have a book, How to Win at Chess. The second one actually is coming out in late 2026. But one that I have not talked about at all, really, is Chess for Babies. I have always said that I believe that chess is for everyone, and I was approached as part of the next kind of waves of books, potentially a young readers edition for young kids that are not 0. Chess for Babies is a high contrast book. It's very durable to survive, baby drooling and God knows what else. And it's supposed to be a very unique way to show chess to a baby, literally. It's going to be a very, very pretty book. I can't show you inside just yet. I have not been allowed. It's on pre-order. I'll put a link in the description. If you know somebody with a baby, or who is expecting, or you have a baby, or you are a baby, and I don't just mean emotionally, you can check it out. It's going to be part of the Gotham line of upcoming books. And as I said, I'm not going to be big into promos during this time, but certain contracts are signed and I can only postpone things so much because amazing people are working to put the book together. Yeah, I would like to. That's what I wanted to start today's recap with. Chess for Babies is available for pre-order. Will come out, I think, March 2026. And without further ado, let's get into the World Cup. Very excited, by the way. It is a very beautiful book, and it's very fun. And reading it, it's not like part of the legal disclaimer, like the kid, the 3-month-old is not going to read the book and beat me, but maybe you. But we'll see. Now, let's start with Arjun Erigaisi versus Shamsiddin Vocidov. I haven't covered this either of these guys. Let's go. So the opening is nothing special. The opening is this variation of the Queen's Gambit, which, as of a few years ago, basically neutralizes the Queen's Gambit completely, which is why many people now are playing the Catalan, or they're literally not playing d4, c4, knight f3. The point is, historically, in this position, black would take with the knight or with the pawn, but in recent times, it has been discovered you can just mirror image capture. I think this was played for the first time by Wesley So, and then everybody under the sun and the moon and the stars and the planets, unless you believe the Earth is flat. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Started playing this. Check. And basically, black has this pawn in the center. White can take it, but then black is going to get insane development. And Erigaisi takes it. He rolls the dice. Basically, if black now knows everything, you go down a pawn, but you neutralize white and you can make a draw. So you have to give a check. The knight has to come back. And Vocidov spent 5 minutes giving this check, and that's already a very bad sign. The knight comes back, and now he goes knight c6, which is all correct. Maybe he was away from the board. Bishop d2, and white basically just gives up this bishop and says, okay, I'm up a pawn, you have to prove it. Black is going to say, well, I have very active pieces, I'm going to put my rooks in the center, and this extra pawn is not going to get felt. Bishop b4 is the best move. Now rook c1 defends. You can take this back. You could just castle with black and just be down a pawn after a3, but black can also play takes, and queen a2, and now black is no longer down a pawn, but, white gets a little bit of momentum here with moves like knight c4. This is the point. The point is that now, you have ideas like knight d6, which is very unpleasant, and you cannot cancel, because if you cancel, you would be losing the bishop here. I think that's the idea. But there could be some problems with... Can we just put this into a computer real quick? No, it has... I was going to say, it has nothing to do with taking the bishop, because this loses. So the idea... Oh my god, this is crazy. So the idea is just e4 and trying to trap the queen. Yeah, okay. Because now the bishop defends the knight. Wicked stuff, right? Like, wicked opening preparation. The best move is bishop e6. Shamsiddin plays that, but he spends quite some time. Erigaisi plays e4, rook d8, knight d6 check, king to f8, queen d2, queen a4 back, played in some 20 minutes. That is one of the moves, but actually you have to give a check first. He goes here. Erigaisi still knows the prep. The queen goes to b4. Erigaisi still knows the prep. He plays 20 moves of prep against Shamsiddin Vocidov, who clearly has forgotten the line. And now black needs to fire back with g5. If you don't know that, then it is much more likely you will play f6. And now you are much worse. Erigaisi plays bishop d3. That is not the best move, but it is one of them. And now this was wrong. Black should not have opened the lines to the king. Now he plays knight e5. We have castles, king g8, bishop f5. And he gets completely, comprehensively blown off the board. Rook c8, I mean, you can just, you know, the queens are seeing each other, right? So you cannot take it. You give a check. It actually doesn't matter, because after rook c8, I take with a knight, and then my queen is getting in. Yes, I take with the bishop. Both moves are actually completely fine. You could take with a knight as well. Bishop c8 is good, because now knight f7, queen d5, and you lose a knight. And you cannot take this, because this is a fork. Arjun Erigaisi plays an extremely sharp line against Vocidov. Vocidov doesn't remember all of it and gets absolutely obliterated. And that is life at the 2700 level. And Erigaisi shows his insane opening preparation. Now in the next game, we're going to go to somebody who is double the age of Erigaisi, who is a legend of the game. He was a monster in the 1990s. He was a monster in 2000, and that was 20-something years ago when everything in chess was different. But Peter Leko in the first round, you know, he beat Bobby Chang from Australia. Now they give him Kirill Alexeyenko, 2680, young man who's representing Austria, but previously played under the Russian flag. But he's part of like some 15 to 20 Russian grandmasters who left Russia over the last 3 years for obvious reasons. So, yeah, there is not a single Russian grandmaster in the top 20 of chess right now by rating. I don't know when's the last time that has happened. I'm not sure that has ever happened in modern chess. You would have to go back some 80 years or so. I don't know. I mean, really crazy. Bishop b5, maybe even more. a6, bishop a4, a Spanish. Again, don't worry about the opening. a4 is just an anti-Marshall line, because if white plays c3, black would go for the immediate push pawn to d5. In the Spanish, d6 is normal. The pawn immediately going to d5 is called the Marshall, basically always Marshall style. Now you cannot play d5, you have to play d6. So Peter Leko goes for this, trades the knights in the middle of the board, and plays queen e2. And this is actually what a lot of the players in the Spanish have been doing recently. They've been forcing black to push the pawn all the way here. They leave c4, a lot of these squares open, and then they play this position. a5 is a very natural move. Rook d1 is quite normal. The bishop attacks the queen moves, and the queen moves, and now white begins to develop the pieces. Frankly, it's a very nice position for white, I have to say. It's completely equal, but I just kind of like the open space. Black now has to play knight d7, knight c5. That seems to be the best plan. He goes to b7, and now Leko doesn't give him the option to ever move the knight again. He takes it away and leaves him with this dark squared bishop, which resembles some positions in Sicilian defenses, especially Sveshnikov's, when you are left with this bishop and the bishop kind of walks around but doesn't really find any home, whereas white can really try to exploit the light squares of the position. So here comes knight d2, bishop d5. He's just cleanly trading off the light squared bishops, and he's just trying to put a knight on c4 or e4, pawn on b3. Everything is going to go in a light square, and black's bishop is going to be completely useless. And, you know, that's why Alexeyenko tries to sacrifice the pawn. He gives away the pawn. He wants to activate his bishop. Leko goes here. Rook a2. Very patient game. And Peter Leko is much, much better. In fact, he gets not just a much better position, he gets like a borderline... no, winning is a strong word. I don't know. Maybe somewhere here he had some... But he gave me completely dominant position. Like, total domination here. But he needed to be really precise. And by really precise, I mean moves like king f1. He went g3 and king g2, which is much more normal. But somehow he went wrong a couple moves later, and he allowed black to get some counterplay because he had only 7 minutes on the clock. But then, I mean, at the end of the day, he's still a pawn up. And he never let Alexeyenko get the pawn back. He just always stayed up a pawn. He outplayed Alexeyenko in the scramble. On the 30th move, they gained a little bit more time. That gave Leko just the time he needed to, again, as I said earlier, put everything important on a light square and slowly walk into black's position, take literally everything, and then promote his pawns. And he left Alexeyenko with just one pawn. In the span of some, like, 10 moves, he ate every pawn Alexeyenko had. And it is extremely instructive that he knew that this was going to happen on the 16th move of the game. And this is what we call, quote-unquote, old man chess. So what, like, you got to play against these young guys like Alexeyenko. He just took the bishop for the knight, and he was like, all right, bishops are better than knights, bishop pair, but not in this case. He then traded the light-squared bishops, very slowly and patiently played the position, allowed a little bit of counterplay in the time trouble, but never got anything dangerous. Put everything important, like I said, on a light square. Beautiful little diagram here. If b3 was on a light square, it would be completely perfect. And he beats Alexeyenko. Peter Leko has 3 wins. Bro, he just put him in the candidates. Really. But hang on. Now, Abdusattorov versus Jose Martinez, a.k.a. Jospum. Yes. That Jospum. e4. Jospum plays the Philidor with the immediate move e5, which is crazy stuff. Huge surprise, looking to trade the queens on the 3rd move. The last time this has been played, I don't even know. Knight f3 from Nodjibek. We have an old-school Philidor defense. The last time the Philidor defense has been played at an average rating of some 2,700. I don't know. The Philidor is a very decent opening, but if you're playing chess in, like, the 1880s, really, like, especially at top level, you can play it at your club. By all means, go to your local club and play as many Philidor defenses as you want. Nobody is going to know what to do. I'm serious. Like, people have no idea what to do against the Philidor. Old school, new school. From the opening, it was Abdusattorov having a strong advantage. He should go e5 here. It's the best move. He plays slowly, and the game gets very complicated. You know, like, if he had broken the position early, quickly black would have been under a lot of pressure, but now you get into a pawn race. Anything can happen. b4, he goes knight d5, Jospum trades, Jose trades. Now, you sacrifice the rook here. I'm not going to yell it, but white gets a beautiful light-squared bishop. Still, the position is very, very sharp and complicated. And Nodjibek gets, you know, he gets a beautiful position. He gets a massive advantage on time. Jose down to, 40 minutes on the clock and basically getting mated. Borderline, like, his attack never got going. He plays queen c5 looking to trade the queens. Nodjibek says no thanks. Jose defends the attack. And I mean, it really looks like a matter of time before mate is coming. But Jose is defending. And this move is apparently a massive mistake, because after rook to e8 and queen f4, there was this nice move f5. And after f5, white has nothing. Legitimately, white doesn't have anything. If you take this pawn en passant, I take on d5, and you cannot play f7. So you have to, because the thing is, if you don't, black has built up a spike. You will never get past these pawns. So suddenly the game completely reverses. Jose puts the king on f7. Now there is no attack. The pawns can't make any progress. You can't get a knight sent in. So we have queen g4, queen f5, and Jose Martinez is the one attacking out of nowhere. 25 moves later, he survived the worst of it. He survived the wrath of the Uzbek tiger, Nodjibek Abdusattorov. And Jose Martinez is winning. He is winning rook b8, queen e6. The king walks over to the edge of the board. d5. The bishop sent in on the opposite side of the board from the chess gods. And it is black who is winning. The bishop went back on the 22nd move of the game to f8. The life of that bishop was ridiculous. On the 5th move, it developed to e7. On the 22nd move, it went back to f8 to defend against checkmate. And on the 38th move, black went pawn to d5, reactivating it from the home square, and d4, and the game is over. You cannot take this because I would be taking the rook for free. If you go back, I have bishop b4, rook a8, queen a2, and I mean, the game is just over. This bishop went to e7 and back to f8, and it won black the game. You talk about a bishop from the gods. Really. Jose Martinez just beat Nodjibek Abdusattorov. Shout out to Jospum. Shout out. Incredible stuff. I have more games for you. Really, it's been a great World Cup. Harikrishna in the first round sacrificed his queen on the 7th move of the game. Absolute unit, absolute madman. Here's his game against Daniel Dardha, Belgian Grandmaster. Frequent disrespecter of GothamChess in online games. Plays all sorts of ridiculous openings against me, and generally wins. Those of you that have watched my channel for a while, you know I once beat him, and I appointed myself the King of Belgium. I don't think that's quite how it works. And I mean no disrespect to the royalty of Belgium. Anyway, this is a classical Sicilian. It's a Hausa variation. Doesn't really matter. Don't worry about it. Yeah, black gets these pawns. It looks kind of absurd, but it's normal. Queen c5 apparently is a mistake. Black has to play really strange moves like h5. I don't know. I don't understand chess. Queen c5 is just the wrong square, and this is the wrong plan, as it plays directly into white's attack. So Harikrishna plays c4, and rook d8 is apparently a huge mistake. Black needs to play dc4 and then rook d8. The difference is that if you play it like this, by the time we begin opening the position, you can no longer defend yourself. And I always have moves like bishop a4 and queen h6, by the way, which is, if your king ever gets over there, it's going to be bad news. You take, I have bishop a4, queen h6, king, this is actually what happened in the game, rook d8, bishop d8, and Harikrishna played rook e3, and this is just checkmate. So black has to probably sacrifice material, bishop e4, rook e4, f5, and my guy, Pensala Harikrishna, rook takes e6, and he is also going to get he's going to win this game by what's called quiet surrender. He will play bishop to b3. Pensala Harikrishna, in his first 3 games of the World Cup, sacrificed a rook and now a queen. A man after my own heart. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's like drinking some sort of delicious chai over there. I don't know what's going on. He is playing inspired. He's playing crazy chess. The point is very simple. This is checkmate. If you go here, you got to lose the queen and then literally every other piece. I mean, you literally just lose every single piece. And if you try to make a run for it, then I switch the plan to taking with the queen, and no matter where you go, you get mated. This one, of course, is easy. This one, a little bit more impressive. Queen f7, king h6, here, and the absolutely ruthless bishop d1. If you get mated, bishop d1 in a World Cup game, just don't even play the second game. Just take the trip home. Like, I would just not even... Having said that, that's not exactly how it's going to work. Harikrishna, breathtaking game against Daniel Dardha. Dardha has to strike back. The good news is, if you lose with black, it's easier to play for a win with white than to play for a win with black. Vincent Keymer versus Pranesh, 2630 GM. India is just printing them the way US just prints like dollars, you know, and runs out the debt. India prints grandmasters. Like every month there is a new one. Pranesh 2630. You might have not heard of him yet. You probably will in the next year. Vincent Keymer plays the ready all the time. We have a reverse Jabava London by Pranesh, trying to take Vincent out of his comfort zone, make him a little bit uneasy in the opening. That's never going to work. Vincent plays knight e1. So this pawn is defended. Now you're going to kick the knight out, or you're just going to leave it alone. You're going to basically ignore this knight completely. And you're actually going to attack it now because it can't go back to c6. So it has to go to the a6 square. And Vincent, as always, well prepared in the opening, very nice position, and has an easy game. Although, Pranesh, to his credit, when he played a weird opening, when you play a weird opening, you have to fully commit to the weird opening, and he is fully committing. The pawn structure, horrific, yet it works. Modern day chess is you can play like this. You can make knight c6, knight before knight a6. You can play like this. You can play c6, e6, f6, d5, and somehow you're not much worse. And this is what, and you know, Vincent is putting on the pressure perfectly, getting the knight out of the way so the bishops wouldn't have been traded on the last move. And now he's damaged the structure. Apparently, by the way, this was wrong. Apparently, he had to go here with the bishop, not with the pawn. Apparently, knight d2 was the wrong plan. Computers are so ridiculous. And Pranesh is like, boom, me attack. I'm just going to leave my king in the center of the board. I'm just going to play king f7. And what's insane about this position is Pranesh totally neutralized white. Totally. Completely neutralized. The knight goes back to c7, and it goes to e6. I actually feel like e6 is wrong. I think he should have went to e8 and then to d6 to support the center. Folks, the life of this knight is c6, b4, a6, c7, e8, d6. Obviously, That's what they teach you in all of the beginner slow runs. Move the knight like 7 times in the first 20 moves. Duh. And move your king. Don't castle. You guys got to look away during these recaps. And, you know, Vincent kept trying, and Pranesh just, like, wouldn't budge. Now, Vincent broke through at some point. He did get some, you know, advantage in initiative. He's 2,700, but here, the computer wanted him to sack his rook. Just straight up, just give it away. And then put the knight on f4, and said that's how, I mean, okay, all right. To invest fully in his passed pawn. And then Vincent, you know, kept trying. He rebuilt some sort of an advantage in the second time control. He was up a pawn, but they were really doubled and unfortunate. And then something funny happened. I couldn't quite understand from the broadcast, but, you know, Vincent got a 2-pawn advantage. If you actually count the pawns in this position, Vincent, and here he could have, knight d5 would have been much better. He would have been nearly winning. He didn't like something. I think he didn't like that the king was coming down. And so here's something funny happened. Effectively, I mean, this is what I understood from a clip on Reddit, which, you know, I don't know. It looked like Pranesh went for his rook here, and he went to take this pawn because it takes a free pawn and defends the bishop. When he reached for it, he kind of touched the pawn. Like, he didn't pick it up, but he touched it, and it was quite clear he was going to play this move. The alternative was, you know, moving the bishop, which I don't know why you would do that. The arbiter saw it and was like, hey, you touched the pawn, you have to move it. And it turned out that it was the best move. So, like, it looks dangerous. I mean, it looks like you might get mated, but, and the arbiter is allowed to intervene. This is what I understood. The story might have changed in the last hour, but I was like, wow, that's fortunate. Admittedly, had he gone here, it would have been fine, but, you know, he is losing a pawn. Like, you got to be a little bit careful what you play here. But yeah, if you check, you know, check social media, I was like, wow, you know, because it looked like he was going to play this move and he touched the pawn, but like and then the arbiter was like, you got to do that. And, yeah, there you go. And the game ended in a draw. This was an endgame. It was very complicated, but Pranesh, by the way, amazing move here. Just like small detail, sacking the pawn to promote. Very hard fought game. And yeah, Vincent Keymer has his hands full, man. This game went some 80 moves. And by the way, Vincent goes out with a bang. Check this out. Sacks his knight and then tries to promote his pawn. And this is a draw because his king is just going to run to the corner, wrong color pawn, and will be permanently stalemated. So my guy Vincent going out in a blaze of glory. I just wanted to show this game because it was a very interesting one. I got a lot of more games for you, by the way. I've got 5 more. So long recap. Buckle up. Jeffrey Xiong versus Liam. He's one of the, you know, best players in the world for the last, like, 10 years. Queen's Gambit exchange. Actually, this one got really spicy. Jeffrey went h4, some sort of new age stuff. I mean, what on earth even is this? Like, this is not how they used to play Queen's Gambits back in the day. The ghosts of chess, you know, past, really flipping over in their graves. Jeffrey played it quite normally. You know, he deliberately made the game quite spicy. But Liam is like, bro, let's pour some sriracha on this. Like, G5, F5, let's go. I mean, really, this does not look pleasant for white. Jeffrey kind of repositioning. Now, here comes the knight from h6. And within the next 3 moves, the evaluation falls off a cliff. I mean, takes, D4. Just smashing the center open. White's king can't get even comfortable. Like, if you take with a pawn, you know, f4 traps the bishop, basically. He takes with the queen. Doesn't even matter. Your bishop gets totally locked away. And Liam is like, yo, you want to push pawns near the king? I'll show you. Bishop c4, you can't castle. You can't castle this way because f2 is hanging. So you have to play basically the ugliest move of all time. Like, this is the ugliest move of the tournament. Nobody's going to take that prize. Liam, meanwhile, goes check. The king now has to get evicted. The second rook comes in. White finally plays f3, and the bishop comes alive, only to get immediately shut down. And this game, Liam, like, he beat Jeffrey Xiong in this game like Jeffrey Xiong scammed him with some token and, like, took all his money. Like, Liam played this game so viciously. And he, like, even this endgame is just, like, all the pawns are frozen. And white can't move at all. And you got to lose all your pawns. And now the rook has to move. And the king is going to walk and eat everything. I mean, just Jeffrey went for an aggressive line in the Queen's Gambit, and within 7 or 8 moves, he was completely flipped. He was just, like, look at this position. Look at this position. Liam, just belligerent. Completely belligerent. You want to leave your king in the center of the board in an opening that's been around for 150 years? The gall. The disrespect. Now, Jeffrey obviously could have played the opening a bit better, but it was, I mean, yeah, tough position. Liam played a beautiful reversal. Not much you can say, really. I mean, Jeffrey tried his best, but this was Liam's game to win. Puya Edani, Iranian grandmaster. Maybe you heard, maybe not. Maybe you hear mostly of Parham Maksudlu. Andrei Esipenko, the remaining real 2700 hope of the Russians in the World Cup. Dubov is there, actually. E4, E5. We have a Spanish. We've seen this already. And black plays D6. You'll remember in the Alexeyenko game, the pawn waited, and white went A4 and also didn't play D3. There's a lot of Spanishes you can choose from. Don't get confused in all of them. Not important. Game was closed for a while. And then Edani went G4. And I was like, what? I've never seen this idea in my life. And then I checked the openings. Ain't nobody played like this before. Bishop A2. Like, this has been played a few times. But Puya Edani comes out of nowhere with G4. Yo. The idea is just to checkmate the other guy. Same side, king side attack. Not something that's like super common. B4, it was better to strike back in the middle, not on the flank. G5. And Esipenko is like, all right, like, let's see what this guy's all about. Yeah, I'll tell you what he's about. He's on that Liam Lay business. Within like 6 or 7 moves. Oh my God, I did the thing. That was not deliberate, but literally G4 was played and okay, 9 moves later, this is the position. Yeah, this is just bad news, man. Like this is bad news. Pawn D4, I mean, Edani just sacks 2 pieces at the same time. It's given a question, I don't even care. He sacks 2 pieces. King takes, rook G6, the second piece is hanging, you can't take it. CD, knight D4 is a mistake to take with the pawn. He just clears it out. Queen F5, and it's over before it's even going to start. The knight is coming, and the knight is going to take, and the game is just over. Knight F3, you can take on F2 with check. I play rook G2. Puya Edani, unbelievable game. Beautiful opening ideas are being displayed, and middle game ideas in this tournament. Like, what a game. In a relatively innocuous position where you would think D4 is the idea, which was the best move, Edani goes here, and in like 10 moves wins the game. Same side, king side attack. And yes, Esipenko could have been a little cleaner. He could have went D5, and then G5 is not so strong, but you have to know this stuff. Crazy. 2 more games I would like to show you. Shout out, by the way, to a long time member of the Gotham community. The username is Aki, of course, who's constantly like pitching games during these major tournaments. That's just a shout out for the insiders of the community. But always pitching games, always following. I catch a lot of the good ones. He sent in this one, actually. This was a draw between you guys told me how to say this name. Did you tell me it's like Ghosh? Kind of Ghost? Ghosh? Ghost? Because a lot of people are saying Ghost, but I don't know how to. Anyway, Queen's Gambit exchange, a little bit less chaotic than the other game that we saw. Not super important. It gets to an endgame where white has a rook and black is defending. And then right here, white is totally winning. If white finds rook b2, which is what happens, rook c2, knight b3, rook c3, knight a5, and this move screws it all up. The knight is trapped. If white runs the king to d5, black loses. King e4. If the knight tries to run away, king d5. And the game is over because you trap the knight. Like if the king goes to h7, rook c8. If the king goes to g6, rook b8, knight a5, rook b5. So a crazy little position where the king needed to get here, and that would have cut off all the knight's escape squares. If black tried to save the knight, it wouldn't work. You would play rook a3. And this, and in the game, what happened is you went here, that allowed black to play king h7, and now you don't have this idea anymore, and it's a draw. Crazy. Crazy. Black had White had 17 minutes to find this idea, and he missed it. Crazy stuff. 2 more games. Bluebaum, the candidate, versus Zimliansky, the young man from Russia. 15 maybe. His last name means earth, of the earth. Another Queen's Gambit exchange variation, not particularly important. Again, this one aggressive, but like, this has been played before. A little bit more understandable, a little bit of a gambit. You give up the pawn, you get some sort of attack, and so on. But, yeah, I think Zimliansky mixed up lines, or mixed up some sort of preparation, because from the opening, it was Bluebaum who just totally stabilized, got a very nice position as far as I'm concerned. And then he just played inspired chess. I mean, g5, you cannot take it at all. The bishop has to move. Knight comes in. The World Cup leads to some extremely combative and uncompromising chess. And yeah, like Bluebaum also in this game played like Tal incarnate. I mean, there is some counterattack going on, and it looks like the attack is extinguished. Queen h3, giving up the bishop completely. You cannot take it because of various back rank ideas like queen h2. So you have to go here, check here. Bluebaum navigates the position correctly. This is a winning endgame. It's a winning endgame because not only is black up a pawn, he's up basically the worst pawn possible for white. These pawns are also very weak. You have to go king f2, and then, you know, Bluebaum begins the winning process. At some point, lets his opponent off the hook. He gives away this pawn to win a couple more pawns. And then somewhere here, like, black might have a chance to save the game, but doesn't. And you simply win. You win. You get the pawn all the way down, and here goes the king. Here comes the king. He's going to dance his way in over here. I'm not even exaggerating. Well, you also can't really check the king anymore. But, like, if allowed, the king will dance in here, and black will win. But there's, obviously, I mean, you could have done much better than that. But Bluebaum wins a very nice game against Zimliansky, and the last game that I will show you was spoiled by, don't worry, if you're 32 minutes into the video, don't worry about it so much. It is Fedoseev and Wojtaszek. Fedoseev has had a rough year. I mean, like, really, like, second half of this year. Plays a Nimso-Indian. Stable opening. I think all of this has been played before. Position is I mean, it's in the balance. Like, both sides have queen, knight, rook, 6 pawns. You make a couple of improving moves. You probably trade the queens. Okay. You go into an endgame where you're a pawn down, but black's pawn structure on the queen side is quite bad. You go here, king d6, and Fedoseev goes here. The craziest thing is, had he done nothing, the game would have ended in a draw. Like, at some point, the pawn moves, I think, run out by both sides, and once you start retreating, you need to move to the right square. This retreat is losing for white. Completely crazy. Knight g8, best move. And now the knight will get to one of these 2 squares, and black is just straight up winning the game. So because you push the king back, black now starts using his extra pawn, and Fedoseev is kind of flailing around with the knight. He can win a pawn back, but it's not good enough because he loses this pawn, and this is losing somehow. Just being a pawn down in a knight endgame, just like this, is losing, sufficiently losing. It's kind of mind-blowing, actually. You couldn't take the knight because the pawn would promote, and it takes some 80 moves, 90 moves to convert the position. A lot of shuffling, but you promote the pawn at the end. The king is going to just come down. You cannot stop this. Unreal. Crazy game. Like, and Wojtaszek beats Fedoseev, another player, by the way, representing a different country, originally Russian. There were maybe a couple of other decisive games. There were some draws. But yeah, really the stories of the tournament, I mean, you've got guys like Edani, who's playing extremely well. You got Leko. I mean, I'm excited to see Leko. Everybody else drew in this round. Next round, we'll have Prague. We will have, we'll have Ghosh, etc. playing, potentially for their, elimination or qualification to the next round. And friendly reminder again, if you're a baby, pre-order this book. If you have one, if you are one, if you'll have one, or just teach yourself. I don't know. Buy it for yourself. It's a pretty book. I don't know. And How to Win at Chess 2 is actually, next level. How to Win at Chess next level will come out in about a year. About a year. Very excited for that one. Worked really hard on it. It's for getting to about 1,600 It teaches you how to think. It teaches you how to attack, how to defend, convert winning positions. It teaches you how to defend. Very exciting book. I'll share more about that. But for now, that's all I have for you today. Get out of here.